Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and today I am here with my weekly WIP and Chat. If you're new, well, first off, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and if you're not sure what WIP and Chat means, WIP stands for work in progress. In this case, I'm going to be working on a diamond painting, but it can really be whatever you like, whether it's a diamond painting or other crafting project or just something you're getting done, your WIP around the house. Chat just means that we're going to spend some time catching up today, talking about diamond painting, a little bit about YouTube probably, and life. So feel free to pull out a project to work alongside me. I know when I'm listening to WIP and Chats, I usually am just doing it while I'm diamond painting and not even looking at the screen, but hopefully for those of you that enjoy seeing some actual diamond painting in progress, hopefully you'll be able to see okay here. But I have all my accessories coordinating with my current project, which is called Talk to the Snakes. It's from Jaded Gem Shop, and the artist is Toshaya-san. This is the pixel charted or hand charted version of the kit, so it is really more like clean lines and has a lot more detail to it. I think this is one of the first kits that Jada Gem Shop actually did hand chart, and so it's been interesting to see kind of her how that's changed and adapted over the months as she's been doing a lot more of it. So just a fun little observation, but I thought that I would work on this one in honor of the year of the snake, and it is just pinks galore, which is that's my color palette, so perfect. As far as accessories go, I'll have all these linked below if you are interested. I'll have the kit linked below as well. This is a pen that's from Lucky's Resin Works, and it was a gift from a very sweet friend a few years ago. I am, just because every once in a while I'm like, let me challenge myself, do something a little bit different. I'm going to try out this all-in-one tip. It looks different from, like, here's a standard diamond painting pen tip that has like the plastic and then the brass, but then I think this is the Everlasting Tips version of the all-in-one tip. And I can never really manage to feel like I can get it to work for me. And I don't tend to bend like the regular brass tips so much that I feel like I really need it. But I just thought that I could maybe work with it today and share thoughts with you guys in case this is something that you feel like could be useful. But wish me luck, because it's probably been over a year since I've made myself kind of work with one of these. But then I have a 10 placer metal multi-placer in the end. This is the Diamond Art Club, or is it 12? I'm sorry, 12 placer, not 10 placer. It is from Diamond Art Club, and these are basically the only multi-placers I use at this point. I like the metal ones because I don't wear grooves in them the way that I do the plastic multi-placers. And Diamond Art Club's placers are, and have been for a while, like the thinnest that are really out there, and they just work really, really well for how I personally diamond paint. This is a little loose. I'm going to grab some washi tape to set it in there a little more firmly. You can also use hot glue if you want to really get them really, your multi-placer tips really secure in your pen. Even with hot glue, it is really easy to move from pen to pen. I'm honestly just too lazy to pull out my hot glue gun every time I want to move my multi-placer. And I have a lot of different diamond painting pens that I enjoy rotating between, so it just makes more sense for me to just use washi tape, because then I don't have to pull out my hot glue every time I want to pop this in there. But yeah, I just wrap washi tape around the barrel of the multi-placer, and that gives it a little bit more to it so that it'll sit in there more firmly. Yeah, there we go. The tray is from Yellow Dog Designs. So fun with the starburst pattern and everything. This is, I don't remember the size off the top of my head, but I really like their trays a lot. I should go check out and see what they have. This is actually from Not Your Mama's Mud, and I'm pretty sure I bought this in 2020 because I don't know that I've seen them do their waxes in these wider containers since then, really. But this is the It's Coffee Time scent, and the product is called Not Your Mama's Mud. The shop itself is called Whimsical Daisies. Then the putty is from Abby's Diamond Putty and More. They're located in the UK. I'm in the US, but I do like this putty a lot in my multi-placer. That said, let me go ahead and get my pen loaded up, and we will dive into this diamond painting. I had already started this current section earlier today, so it's already got some drills down, but we'll just open that one up and dive right in. So for those of you that use these all-in-one tips, I'm so curious what your experience has been like. Do you really enjoy them? And what do you like about them? Like, I'm having trouble even, oh my gosh, look at that wax. That's so gross. Okay, that was so weird. They just function so differently, I feel like, when I'm using them to diamond paint with compared to a regular brass tip, and I have some trepidation, I'm not gonna lie, about trying to use this today. So, like I said earlier, wish me luck, because I just don't know how this is gonna go. And if you have tips to share, you're welcome to share those as well. Okay, I think, I don't know, doesn't feel like that's super secure, but we'll give that a try. We're also gonna hope that my pets decide to behave for the most part during this video. They've been kind of giving me a run for my money and getting up to adventures and shenanigans the past couple of videos I've tried to record. And many of you are so sweet and say like, oh no, it's fine, don't worry about it, which I do really appreciate. Please don't get me wrong, but I am also well aware that there are probably a solid number of people that don't comment or don't want to be like, it's super obnoxious, can you please try to get this under control? So it sometimes bothers me, it's distracting to me, so that's why I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to edit around it if I can. Okay, that's pretty clean cut there. Let's give that a try. So, hi friends, by the way, again. I am a little ways into this video and haven't yet asked how you are doing today, so forgive my poor manners here. Hi, how are you doing today? I hope that your week is off to a wonderful start. My WIP and Chats go up on Monday mornings, US time, Pacific time, and they go up every Monday. And I'm filming it Sunday night. Gosh, sorry, little tongue tied here. It's currently Sunday evening, and I'm winding down my weekend as always, enjoying kind of settling back into the rhythm of the week alongside you all. So, oh my gosh, that's a really pretty match. That's pretty. Oh no, never mind. It was just kind of the angle of it. I was like, oh, it looks like it's a really close match to this tricolor. No, it's not. It's a bit light for that, but. Yes, so Sunday evening, we've had a very, very busy weekend in a good way. It was my oldest's birthday. My mom is in town. There's been a lot that's been going on. So I had a moment earlier this evening where I thought, gosh, I'm just so wiped out. Am I even going to feel like I have the energy to film a WIP and Chat later? But just as it turned out, as the evening went on and the kids were settling for bed, I kind of got my second wind. So here I am, always happy to get to check in with you all and start the week with you. This kit, it's been good to be back to it. I've been back at it for a couple of days. I finished Dark Lilith on, I don't know, was that Wednesday or Thursday? And shared a finished photo in the Diamond Art Club VIP Facebook group if you're in that. Gosh, that kit was really, really fun to work on. I think I mentioned in last week's WIP and Chat, but I'll say it again. It's been a while since I have worked on a kit like that where I have felt like I just cannot put it down and felt like I just want to work on this every single spare second. Oh, let me fix the focus here so we're not going in and out of focus every time my pen comes out of frame. So I also just was, I don't know, it made me think of how I used to diamond paint that fast all the time and spend all of that, like every single spare moment possible diamond painting. And it's just, I'm just in a different stage of life and whatnot now. I'm like, I can't spend quite that much time diamond painting anymore, but it was fun for a week to blitz through that project and just really love every single bit of it. I am planning this week to do either this week or next week. We'll kind of see how it works out. I still need to dig out my DIY Moonshot version of Dark Lilith to do a side-by-side comparison of those two. I looked at pictures, especially of them, the pictures of them completed side by side, and they do look pretty different. And I have a lot of thoughts. And a lot of my thoughts come from, I think, a sense of perspective, what my thoughts were in 2021 and my opinions and impressions of that kit in 2021 when I first completed it compared to now. It's interesting. I just wonder if I completed that kit today, would my reaction be anywhere near as enthused as it was before? I still really love a lot about it, but it's one of those kits that it looks best when you're looking at it from a distance, and when you zoom in, like a lot of computer charter pieces, when you zoom in, it kind of starts to fall to pieces. It's a little bit of a mess, and there's just a certain degree of clarity to the Diamond Art Club version that isn't present in the DIY Moonshop version. And I worked on my kit before I was a DIY Moonshop affiliate, and so I was only an affiliate for them for a very short amount of time before they shut down. And I have some, there's some really complicated feelings attached to that. I feel like there was a large degree of kind of naivete on my part that, I don't know. I have lots of feelings, and I have some thoughts about just sort of YouTube in general that I'll share with you in just a bit. But I don't know, I still look back and look at the pictures of that original Dark Lilith kit and go, but no, there's a lot that I really am happy about with how it turned out, but I also can see why a lot of people look at it and be like, that is kind of a little bit of a mess. Why are you saying that you liked it? But I don't know. I think I just also really enjoy Margaret Morales' artwork, and that was the only way to work on it licensed at the time, so that was probably part of it too. But anyway, stay tuned for that. I think it'll also be a little bit even more interesting when I see that canvas in person, because I certainly haven't looked at the actual physical canvas in 4 years, so I still have to dig it out. I haven't had the time to find it, but there's only a few different places it could be. But then finishing that kit and coming back to this one, I feel like I'm back to my usual kind of sedate diamond painting pace for the moment. It's also just been a very busy few days. My time during the day hasn't been as open. My mom is now in town, like I mentioned, and there was a lot of prep and lead up to Connor's birthday, which, of course, that's where I'm going to put my focus, my time, my energy is going to be on that. But it means that this beast of a kit, this big old kit, is going to take me, it's not going to be as fast of a finish as Dark Lilith was. But let's see, I'm not halfway done with it yet, but this is the third of 7 rows. So it's coming along, and there's lots of color blocking. You can see I'm doing a lot of multi-placing here. So I was joking with a friend saying, I guess this is just the month of me working on just super strong female, I use the phrase badass, characters, mythological characters between this one and Dark Lilith. But I mean, to be fair, that could easily be the majority of my stash, and kind of my diamond painting art style in a nutshell is just fantasy portraits all over. That's one thing that hasn't really changed over the years. But I don't know what I'm going to work on after this. I am going to be going to a diamond painting retreat. I know I mentioned it about every single WIP and Chat for the past several weeks, but that's coming up in just a couple of weeks, and so I need to decide what kit I want to take with me on that trip. I think it's going to need to be something smaller. Also, I want to make sure I mention, if you're interested in finding out more about diamond painting retreats in general, there is a Diamond Painting Retreats Facebook group, and that seems to be kind of the most central location to find out about various diamond painting retreats that are happening. A lot of the retreats seem to fill up quickly, including the one that I'm going to, just because there is limited space. It's really hard to find venues that work for this kind of thing, and so a lot of times, even if there is a venue that works, it doesn't have space for a ton of people. There's other practical considerations too, but all this to say, I often, when I mention the retreat that I'm going to, people ask like, oh, can I find out more? And I will link the retreat Facebook group in the description box of this video below if you want to go and take a look. I'm not aware right now of any resources outside of Facebook, so I'm really sorry if you're not on Facebook. I wish that I had something more helpful to share, but I don't. But if any of you guys know of other places to find out more information about diamond painting retreats, feel free to leave them in the comments in case people check there. But yes, so what else? I did have my Diamond Art Club Amazon Disney. This is such a mouthful. This gave me so much trouble just trying to come up with a video title and a thumbnail. But my Diamond Art Club Amazon exclusive Disney Princess series video. Yeah, such a mouthful. That went up today. That took a lot of editing time, like a ton of editing time, which is why it took me a little while to get it done. And in a lot of ways, I hate to say it, I'm happy with parts of how it came out, but I'm also, there's parts of it that I go, I don't know. I feel like this is just not my strength at all. And then I spent so much time on it last evening that when it came down to it, I was like, oh shoot, I need to come up with a thumbnail and a title. And I don't feel like I came up with good ones. And, I understand that video hasn't been like super interesting to a lot of people according to just sort of the number of views and stuff and what YouTube Studio loves to tell you. If you are not a YouTube person, like as in if you don't if you haven't had a channel in the past, or if you aren't necessarily familiar with the ins and outs, I am going to chat just briefly about some of my experience and thoughts just like as someone that has a channel, especially like as someone that before I made a channel, before I started diamond painting, I didn't really use YouTube for anything anything except occasionally randomly searching for like how to fix this thing in my home or something like that, you know. But there's this part of with having a channel, there's an app called YouTube Studio, or that's just part of, you know, having a channel where it has things like various analytics, like telling you how a video performed compared to your other videos, and it even ranks them. It will tell you out of your past 10 videos that you've uploaded, here is how this video ranks. And it can be helpful, but also, like, let's be honest, it can be super, super, super discouraging if you're like not in a great headspace or like don't have kind of a good mindset or context for it. So just know that if you have a channel and you've seen these before and you just look at like the downward pointing gray arrows, yeah, like it sucks. I think that anyone that has a channel and looks at those, I don't know how you can look at those and be like, yeah, no, this is great, this is fine. So just know that if that's you, like I'm there with you. It's not fun. And it can be helpful. Like you can go like, okay, how can I use this to be helpful? But also it's hard sometimes to not see that and go, okay, well that didn't work. Just like change everything or overly analyze. Like what about that wasn't so great? And sometimes it's like, it's fine if something didn't do well. This was still a video that was important to me personally and that I wanted to put out there. And one of those things, and I've mentioned this before in passing, but just in case you were curious, typically like Diamond Art Club videos, they tend to perform a lot better than a lot of other, like most other small shop videos. But even though that is the case, you will still see me continuing to share small shops as frequently as I am able to here on my channel. And by as frequently as I'm able, I mean in terms of budgetary restrictions that I have right now and some like practicalities and logistics as far as scheduling goes. Like if I have certain things that need to go up at certain times or just make sense sort of with the flow of things. But that's something that's going to remain a value, even if it's like, well, technically those don't necessarily, according to YouTube, do as well. Like, people don't tend to watch those as much. So, but I'm like, but it's important. Like I want to, it's important to me. I really want to continue to use what I do have to potentially introduce others to new small shops they haven't heard of before and whatnot. I feel like it's important to me personally. I just feel like it's almost like I have, I don't know, it's like a responsibility thing that I feel like I have. And I've been feeling, I guess, like a little bit pensive for a variety of different reasons. One reason is that with my oldest's birthday being yesterday, I also remembered that on my oldest's birthday 5 years ago, that's when I remember that's the day that I finished. After 1 month of working on it, I finished one of the giant princess panels by Mandy Manzano from Diamond Art Club. It's the one that was, it's called One Worth Melting For. And I remember I single placed the entire thing. And this is when I didn't even have like an Instagram account for diamond painting yet. And I was taking little videos here and there that I would share on my personal Instagram. But I remembered when I completed that large project, just sort of, I don't know, that was one of those moments where I felt like, okay, this really is a craft that I see myself continuing to just dive further and further into. I was learning about more shops, and it was shortly after that that I started a diamond painting Instagram account, and then I didn't start my YouTube channel until it was August or September of that year. And so anyway, with my oldest birthday, I've been feeling super nostalgic about lots of stuff related to him, but then a little bit related to diamond painting. Along with that, I was watching, I didn't get all the way through it, but I got almost halfway into a video from the absolutely wonderful Lisette Crafts and Tells. You guys probably know of her. She is the one that did, well, she does amazing videos no matter what the content is, but she's probably most well known for doing like this huge, incredibly inspiring stash detox a couple of years ago. And it took her, I think, around 2.5 years to do, but she was so diligent about it, like, and kept us all posted along the way, doing these check-in videos. Her whole approach to it was just honestly admirable. I'm fangirling a little bit because I just think she's a wonderful, wonderful person. She did a video that she put up today where she talked about her top 80 favorite diamond painting creators, which is just so charming that she did a whole video on where she talked about, like, it felt like just a ton of different creators. And she did make a point of saying, like, if you have a channel and it didn't mention you, it's not at all personal. It's just that I haven't met you yet. So please, like, let me know if you have a channel and stuff like that. She would never ever set out to hurt anyone's feelings. But I love the format of this video because she was sort of approaching it chronologically and talking about, like, taking us on her journey almost of what diamond painting looked like for her and what kind of getting into the YouTube scene looked like for her. And the main way that she and I had kind of initially connected and run into each other is that we were both working on these really crazy high color count Josephine wall kits from Diamond Painting Deutschland. And it was really neat because this was before like max color count kits were really much of a thing. And I feel like we were a couple, like the only people I remember really seeing working on these projects on YouTube and whatnot. And it was just really neat to get to kind of do that alongside her. And I just remember thinking even at the time, like, oh, she's one of the real ones. She's a good one. But she was saying a lot of really sweet things and about everyone that she was sharing about. And so if Lisette's watching, thank you, my friend. You're so sweet, and the community is so incredibly, lucky to have you. But it was one of those things that, she chatted about a little bit about how she had found my channel and whatnot. And I don't know, it just kind of got my mind going a little bit, thinking about what it was sort of the headspace I was in and whatnot when I started my channel, and just sort of how I don't know, I often feel like this is such a cliche thing to say, I will own that, but I will also say that I'm being just honest and, often, I guess, like vulnerable in a way about my feelings with this. But I do often feel like major imposter syndrome and sort of feeling what am I even doing? Having a YouTube channel, I'm still just like I'm just a diamond painter at my kitchen table, with a little bit of like chaos in the background. And I just started a YouTube channel to have a better medium to put out reviews of diamond painting stuff. And I'm just making it up as I go along. And so I often still feel like I'm in that headspace, and I have a hard time reconciling that with how I think sometimes people see me and my channel. This is awkward to talk about. Let me be real here. It's awkward to talk about, but I'm just embracing the awkward for the moment. The way that Lisette put it was, she was like, I think of people like Katie and Rachel Ray and Miss Coffee, and I think she might have named a couple other people, as like professional diamond painters, that this is almost like a job to them. And I don't remember exactly how else she put it. And I just had a moment where I was like, but I don't necessarily feel that way. Like sometimes I feel it, like when I was talking about how I feel like a sense of responsibility, and like how I'm aware that I want to use my platform to continue to uplift small shops, even if that's not what YouTube says like does the best views wise. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter how it does views wise, like it's important, so I'm gonna share it anyway. So sometimes I feel aware of it, and I guess I'm like, and approach it with a professional mindset, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm just diamond painting, I'm just sharing my thoughts as like a Joe Schmo, and I don't know, like it's not that deep. But I don't know, I guess I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with that, but because I've been doing this for almost 5 years, it'll be 5 years this fall, so 4.5 years, there are things that I have sort of settled into a rhythm with, and I do tend to, once I find something that works for me, will often stick to it. And so what may to me just be like this is just an efficient way, or a way that I like saying this thing, to some people that don't necessarily know me as anything except someone that has been around for a while, or has had a channel for a while, or is like a, quote, to use Lisette's words, like a professional at this, might see that as like, oh, that's scripted. She's just reading off a script or whatever. And it doesn't matter what other people think, but it just, there's sometimes that I feel, I don't know, there's what's the word? Disconnect maybe, that I don't know exactly always how to handle, but yeah, I do try to continue to be myself as much as I can, but after 5 years, in some ways it's hard not to have fallen into a rhythm or whatever with how I do unboxings or something like that, or how I approach things. But to be completely frank with you about another kind of side of YouTube, is when I am doing things like the Princess series video that went up today, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking, because you may have heard other people on YouTube talk about the YouTube algorithm, which is this like unknowable sort of behemoth that can make or break a channel sometimes. Like I don't think that that's, some people will say that that's like responsible for everything about a channel's success. And I'm like, well, no, I think that there is more to it than that, but I think it can have an effect. And something I have noticed over the years, or it's just a crazy coincidence, is that if you try to do something that's sort of too new, too different from what the algorithm kind of expects you to do, sometimes it can be a bit punishing as far as like, then it doesn't push your video as much or something like that. And so there's always a little bit of nervousness on my part when I'm like, I want to try something new. I have this idea or this thing that I think would be fun or that people would enjoy, or it's this different approach. And that was a little bit like with the princess video I did, where I was like, I'm going to do it more kind of vlog style. I'm going to have music and some transitions, and it's going to be longer form. It was just a little bit kind of different from my usual in a lot of ways. And I just really didn't know, like, both how the algorithm would respond to something like that, but also just how you guys would feel about it. And not that you all are a monolith, of course, you're all individuals with your own kind of tastes and things that ebb and flow over time, of course, but I never know if this is rhetorical, I'm not asking you to respond to this, but when I try something new, it's like, well, either there are probably going to be some people that are like, oh, cool, like something new and different and refreshing. This is great. And then others will be like, but I came here for this other style, like this kind of normal go-to style of how you do things, and now you're changing it up, and I'm not necessarily here for it anymore. And I guess I'm just the major people pleaser in me is like, but I want everybody to be happy. I want everyone to be, finding this helpful or enjoyable. But it's been something I've been learning and figuring out how to sort of adapt to and get used to over time. But anyway, all this to say, pensive has been the name of the game, and how I've been feeling and overthinking things recently. So just know that I am so glad that you guys are here. Whatever you are watching or not watching, it's fine. I'm so happy that you ever pop in whenever you feel like it, and I just appreciate you genuinely, no matter what. This is just a little bit of if you wanted to hear a bit of my experience or perspective as someone that's been on YouTube for a bit, there's that, I suppose. So let's move on and chat about other things, though, because gosh, yeah, chatted with you about that for a bit there. Other things that have been going on. We had Connor's birthday this weekend, and we went to Great Wolf Lodge. My mom got a night there, which meant that we got access to the water park for Friday and Saturday. And we took both kids, and they had an amazing time. We went with all of us on Friday, and the kids swam and played for several hours. This year was better and different in a good way from last year, because this year Connor can swim, and so he was able to do things like the wave pool and was just ridiculously brave. I admit I was a tiny bit nervous. I didn't want to be like a helicopter mom, but I was like, let me know when you go into the wave pool. I want to keep an eye out. And he started in kind of the shallow areas, but by the end of the evening, he was all the way out in like the 5-foot area, just like swimming through the waves as they were hitting, and just completely at ease in the water. It was wonderful. So swim lessons last year really, man, those paid off. And he had a lot of fun in the lazy river. He spent hours in the lazy river. Micah, we're going to try to, I think, do swim lessons with him this year and get him more water safe. And even though he couldn't swim, he was still just generally a lot safer this year. It felt a lot less stressful. He spent a lot of time in kind of the play area that's kind of central to it, where there's like various like smaller slides that go off of it. There's like stairs and steps and stuff that you can go up. Various things you can interact with, and like the bucket that gradually fills up and then, pours over everybody that's under it, that kind of thing. So still had someone really shadowing Micah the whole time. So I was on my feet a lot, but, and it traded off with Adam plenty too. The kids just had the absolute best time. And then Connor spent the night there, did a sleepover with my mom. And then we didn't end up going back with Micah the next day because, similar to last year, Saturday ended up being just an absolute madhouse by comparison to Friday. My mom said it was just wall-to-wall people. And to be honest with you, I was nervous about being able to keep track of Micah just safely. And it just apparently was very kind of chaotic, and Connor was fine, but yeah, we just decided there are a couple other things too. Like I was feeling a little bit under the weather myself and stuff. So we just decided, Micah was fine. He was okay with that, not going back too. We're also keeping an eye on, he tends to, this is a whole other thing that we're kind of in the process of digging into, but he sometimes, when he's super active, his hip or something in his upper leg will start to bother him. This is a lingering effect of when he had the big C word. At least it's the only thing we can connect it to. This was several years ago at this point, like 3+ years ago at this point, that at the time we noticed it caused, some inflammation, we think, in his hip. That's what his doctor thinks. And now it's like when he's super, super, super active for an extended length of time, sometimes he'll have, I guess, kind of like a flare up or some kind of increased inflammation, and he'll just have some trouble walking. And like I said, we're in the process of digging into this more to really figure out what's going on. And it's not like a super simple process, but yeah. So anyway, that was one of the other reasons we decided, like, okay, it's okay if we don't necessarily go back, because we definitely had to have Micah take a break or two on Friday because we could tell, it was like, ooh, it looks like maybe his hip's starting to bother him. Let's go have him sit for a bit, have a snack, a little rest, and then he can get back to it. And that worked fine, but I just was worried about pushing it too much on Saturday. Then today, Sunday, we met up with Adam's side of the family. We went to Chuck E. Cheese for a little birthday celebration, and the cousins got to play. Connor just is best buds with his cousin. And now they're both 10 years old. They're the same age for a few months a year. And they had just a blast. They had a great time. And Mike had a great time running around too. We got pizza. I had brought a cake that I put 10 candles on, and Connor had fun blowing out the candles on that. Just so it was a really good celebration. I think Connor had a really good time and felt very loved and very celebrated. I am just the biggest sap ever. And when I was putting him to bed on his actual birthday, I got kind of weepy, and he's just like me. He's kind of a sympathetic crier. So he started to get a little teary because he saw me getting teary. And I was just like, I just want you to know how much I love you and how proud I am of the 10-year-old that you are. And I just am so excited to see what this year has in store for you. And I love how kind and thoughtful and silly and sweet you are. And I just said, I was like, sometimes, I said, these are happy tears. I said, but sometimes, I said, I get a little bit emotional just because you're growing up so fast. And he was like, I love you, Mom. And I'm getting teary now, but, yeah, time has flown. I feel like especially the past, 5 years since, the crazy happenings of 2020. And I can't believe I have a kid in double digits now. It's just been one of those moments where I've had to like sit and have a little mini existential crisis over it. To be like, oh my gosh, how am I old enough to have a 10-year-old? I had a lot of my identity, I feel like, for a long time in being a mom of littles. And it feels just like in a lot of ways that I'm really firmly moving out of that phase of life. And that's emotional. That's hard. And, I don't know, I guess it's hard, but it's also, there's obviously so much to celebrate and so much to be thankful for. But sometimes, I don't know, this big milestone, birthday and other milestones like that, I have to sit with it for a little bit, let give myself some grace and some time to process it and to be okay with it and be like, it's okay if this is hard. And that there's things that are bittersweet about it, but just focusing on being thankful for, the day-to-day, like taking it one day at a time and all that. So anyway, lots and lots of nostalgia, and also thinking ahead to, okay, what do I maybe want to do better? What are some things that I wish that I had done differently? And just as my kids have grown up in this past year, what I wish I could have done differently, and how can I maybe try to do things a little bit differently in the next year, so that I can look back at Connor's 11th birthday and go, oh, I'm glad that I made, these changes or had this sort of different approach. And yeah, so I'm pensive and thinking about that too. So I don't know, any other parents have similar kind of reactions to kids' birthdays, especially those milestone ones? I hope I'm not completely alone and out of left field with this one, but anyway, my kids' 2 birthdays are now, that's it for 2025. And Adam had his birthday, and then next family birthday is mine in November. So we've got a minute now between birthdays. So that was this weekend. And then my mom is in town. I picked her up from the airport on Friday morning. Bless her heart. She had to get up at like 3:30 Ohio time, which was midnight California time, in order to get on her flight. I was picking her up from the airport around like 9:30, and I had just like gotten up, taken the kids to school, and then taken a quick cat nap before I went to pick her up. So I was like, you've basically lived a whole day of travel and more before I've even really gotten out of bed for the day. I feel so bad. So she came home and took a little cat nap because she knew we're going to Great Wolf Lodge after the kids get home from school. So she got a cat nap and then rallied, and then we did Great Wolf Lodge. But she brought her diamond painting stuff. She's going to be here for almost 2 weeks before we head to the retreat in Texas together. And I did give her the Chuck Pinson snack size kit that I unboxed in my Diamond Art Club Amazon video on Saturday. So I had said in that video, I was like, yes, there's landscape here. No, it's not a cry for help. And I think that my mom's going to want this one. And she did. She kitted it up. I don't know if she put any drills down on it yet or not. I was taking a nap earlier when she was actually kitting it up. But I don't know if she'll take that one to the retreat or if she'll have something else. But we're hopefully going to get some diamond painting done. She's not here for this week's WIP and Chat just because she's still pretty jet lagged, and we've had such a very full weekend that, I mean, it wasn't even 8 o'clock. Oh, sorry, I just hit the camera real hard. It wasn't even 8 o'clock before she was like, I have to go to bed. I'm so tired. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Go to bed. Like, I completely understand. Jam-packed weekend. So maybe next week we'll see if she's more adjusted to California time and wants to stay up and chat with us. So let me know if you have any questions that you want to ask her. I keep forgetting every single time. I got tagged in a set of tag questions that I think Natalie, was it Diet Coke and Diamonds, did? So I need to do that. Maybe I'll see if my mom wants to do that with me next week. I don't even remember what the questions, I haven't looked at what the questions are. I haven't watched the other videos of others that have done them yet because I've been so busy. I haven't had the chance to, but there is a set of tag questions I keep meaning to do. So maybe I'll see if my mom wants to do those with me next week. But also, if you have questions you want to ask, feel free. She's been diamond painting for about a year now, and I'm so happy that she's still loving it so much. So that's that. And a pup date for you all. Our puppy Scout, we have now had him, we adopted him about exactly a month ago. Was it on the 18th? I can't remember the exact date. It might have been the 18th. We may have had him for exactly a month now. And he just continues to settle in more and more every day in a lot of ways. And I always appreciate the advice and encouragement that you guys share in the comments. So keep them coming. Keep them coming. I'm never going to be offended. We're making, I feel like, good progress with housebreaking in general. But sometimes it's like when he gets just too excited or if he's too distracted, he just sometimes will have an accident. But I think also because he spends a lot of time just hanging out outside, he doesn't have a super strong association with outside is just for going potty, you know? And I know that there's some like potty training recommendations for dogs that's like involves using a crate and only going outside to go potty and then immediately coming back in. But it's just not practical for sort of him and for our family for that to be how we're approaching it. So we are not. And I think we're going to get it figured out. I think he's just still young because he's only, I think, 3.5 months old. We don't know exactly when he was born. His mom was essentially like a stray. And so she just showed up on Jade's doorstep with puppies. So they have a guess based on their teeth, like the puppy's teeth when they were born, but it's not, exact down to the day or anything like that. So best guess is that he was born like at the very beginning of February, which would put him at about 3.5 months old now. So he's done well. He's had a couple of different times where he's had to be in his crate during the day, and our neighbors, haven't said that they've heard anything from him. He was in there when we went to Great Wolf Lodge. So he was in there for a few hours and he seems to have done fine, like no signs of stress or distress. And, I don't hear him whining or upset when we get home. So fingers crossed that means that we're kind of okay and set as far as that daytime crate training goes, just because he's too young to leave to have free reign of of the place while we're not in the house. So, and then he and our cat Skip are continuing to get along more and more and figure out how they interact. It was really cute earlier this evening. Scout was washing Skip's ears, and Skip was just like leaning into it, loving it. Scout, I think, doesn't realize how much bigger he's getting, though, and so he'll kind of come a little bit hard at Skip sometimes, and Skip will kind of be like, ah, but Skip has never hissed or like gotten upset. Like sometimes he'll kind of do a bit of a swat at Scout, but he definitely does not appear upset. I think they're just figuring it out. But I'm happy that things seem to be going smoothly with that and going well with the kids too. The one thing we're running into is just how incredibly Velcro dog he is with my husband. And actually, he's been reacting to my mom similarly to Adam too, where he's chewy with her in a way that he isn't with me. He's wanting to like jump up on her and stuff. And I'm like, do I just have like mean mom voice, mean mom energy that he doesn't try to pull as much with me? I don't totally know, but I was surprised to see him reacting like that to my mom. And it's not that like she and my husband aren't, being firm with him or anything like that. They are. He's just incorrigible. So we're figuring it out. He's fitting in so much better with our family than we could have expected. And again, he's a puppy, so we're expecting some behaviors to keep working through. But we'll get there. I think we're on the right track. I think we're doing okay. And then as far as other things, I've had, I think, was this my third or fourth therapy session? And you guys, I'm a huge advocate for therapy, and for ending, stigma related to mental health, of course. But I've been back in talk therapy for a few weeks now, and it's so funny. I always, when it's leading up to time for that, weekly session, I always have this sense of like, oh man, like I don't really want to do this today. I'm not super excited. I have stuff that I need to talk about. Like, am I going to get a good grade in therapy today? It's like, is my therapist is she going to be happy with how I talked about things? And, that's Adam and I joked. He always asks when I get out there, he's like, did you get a good grade today? I was like, yeah. But no, this was a good session. It's interesting because when we started out and kind of did the initial intake, she was asking about, okay, what are some goals that you have? What are some things you want to work on? And I had brought some different things up. Then once we actually get into it, it's like, okay, how'd this week go? She'll ask, and then the things that'll come up, I'll kind of often feel like are not necessarily related, and I'll go, oh, well, I guess maybe I didn't necessarily need to work on, this particular goal so much as this other stuff. But then it tends to then come back around and actually be connected, things like how I handle communication, and there was a lot of talk about sort of like relationships and friendships and stuff like that this past week that I was like, oh wait, no, some of the things we've talked about last time, things that were bothering me or that I was dealing with, it's like, oh no, they're coming up, it's coming around now. It's making sense how this ties back to things like things that I want to work on. And it was really helpful. It was very validating in a way, but also she gave me some insight, and I feel like often some of the best insight you can get is the insight that you don't always necessarily want to hear. And, she said a couple of things that I immediately was like, oh, no. And I'm not super excited to hear that. That can't be it. And then once I sat with it for a bit, it was like, well, okay, maybe I need to sit with this. Maybe there is more to unpack here. So, I'm glad that I am back in it. I'm always glad that like I went to therapy, and I know that it's going to be helpful, it's helpful short-term and long-term, but just, I always have this sense of like, oh, I don't really want to go today. And then I'm always glad that I did. So anyone else in therapy relate? But I think she's a good fit. I've mentioned, I think in the past couple weeks that I wasn't sure because I know she does seem to be younger than me, but I'm like that. I'm not so worried about the age so much as does it feel like we click, and does it feel like she's like helping me work through things. So she had that insight and that expertise to kind of be able to help me unpack things and untangle things and work on stuff. So that's that. Micah is doing well. I know I talked a lot about Connor's birthday. I talked to Grace a little bit about Micah and how he's been this weekend, but continuing to do super well back at our home school. And I just so appreciate that every single day I get the chance to chat with, the teacher and sometimes the school psychologist, and they're so good about just not just keeping me up to date, but it's like when I go to pick Micah up, I can tell that there's this very genuine, like they're happy that he's there and he's feeling that energy and thriving on it, and he's loving being there, and in turn, like he's actually learning, and they're realizing just how much of this potential, some of like the behavior things that may have been going on, could really truly have been he's getting bored, he's not being challenged quite enough. But it's been this sometimes a tricky dichotomy between he's kind of like a tricky case sometimes, because it's, some of his needs fit more on the mild scale of things, like his academics, and some of his needs are more on the moderate scale of things. And he truly is just like that kid that would need just like a dedicated moderate classroom, but special ed is typically broken down into either mild mod or mod severe. There's not really like a super great in between. And Micah has just, I think they've said it's just, they feel bad. They don't have something that just is exactly the right fit for him, but we're finding a lot of better ways to make it work where he's at now, where it's like, instead of trying to just like fix his, struggling with like his behavior stuff, it's like, well, let's challenge him academically instead in this setting. And I think he's going to be doing a lot better for that. So yeah, it continues to just be really solid reports from the school. He did have one tough morning, they said, but even still, like, it sounds like that would have been the equivalent of like a good day at the misadventure school. So we continue to just be really happy with it. And the kids still have another, like, I don't know, it's less than a month of school now, but we get out late compared to a lot of other districts and other people. So we're going to be going for a bit longer. So yeah, anyway. As far as what I have been reading and watching and listening to, I finished the first Mistborn book as an audiobook this past week. Mistborn: The Final Empire, my first Brandon Sanderson book that I've read, and you guys, I loved it. I'm so happy to be out of my reading rut, my audiobook rut. I don't know what that was. Something just randomly fell over. I'm so happy to be out of my audiobook rut, and it's so funny. The end of that book apparently is what Brandon Sanderson fans call his very typical end of book style, which is a Sanderson avalanche, where just for the last 200 plus pages of a book, sometimes there's just so much action, there's so much happening that you can't put it down. There's twists, there's all kinds of stuff, and I'm not going to give any spoilers. And this book's been out for like 8 years or something, so chances are that if you were going to read it, you probably would have. But yeah, twists, some of which I felt like I sort of could see coming, but others I was like, what? Did not see that coming. And I am absolutely planning to continue the series, though I did say I need to just emotionally recover for a minute before I start the next one. And I hear that the second one I hear is a little bit slower paced, but then the third one is apparently super worth it and is absolutely amazing. So planning to at least get through the Mistborn series and then kind of see where I want to go from there. But I was really nervous with these books that I think I probably mentioned this last week when I talked about reading, but I was nervous that getting into these books that it would be too overwhelming, because sometimes with really expansive worlds and with like lots of world building, really epic fantasy series, sometimes it can be like, I was like, if this is going to be like Tolkien, then I'm not in a place where I have like the margin for that. Like, I've read the Lord of the Rings books and I've enjoyed them quite a lot. but that was years ago. That was 15, 20 years ago, the last time I read them. And I was like, I don't have that in me right now. And so, but I wasn't sure. I thought, I just don't know. I don't know Brandon Sanderson's writing style. And it's not that. It felt very accessible to me. It felt very much like I'm learning, you know, this magic system and this world in a really organic and easy way. I told Adam it reminded me a little bit of Chris Nolan's writing style, including how with Chris Nolan, it's like he builds these worlds, but while he's teaching you about the world, he's also exploring ways to like break the rules of this world that he's built. Like I'm thinking of like, you know, Inception or something like that. And that's a little bit what it reminded me of. But even like more accessible than Chris Nolan stuff. It felt a little easier to keep up with than that tends to be. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed it. And so I actually this past week, I have one library card, and I hadn't used Libby in years, but I thought I want to, especially because I'm on a pretty tight budget right now, I'm like, let me get everything set up so that I can borrow these audiobooks instead of buying them. And at least here in Southern California, the way that our library systems are set up is I don't know, there's several different library systems, even just within Orange County. And so I have multiple different ones that are driving distance, like easy driving distance from me. And I have a card for one library system, but went ahead and went out and got a card for a different library system that'll, you know, give me access to, you know, 30 something more branches or something. So I can get those set up in Libby and hopefully get on the wait lists for, you know, potentially multiple libraries to see how quickly I can get my hands on those next books. Because the first one that I checked, it was like a 12-week wait for the second Mistborn book. So I thought, oh, let me go get another library card and see if that one's a shorter wait, but I still need to set it up and look it up. So anyway, yes, hopeful end of my audiobook rut for the time being, and we'll see how far I go down the Sanderson rabbit hole. And I know there's more of you here because some of you were very happily in my comments after last week's video, and I absolutely love it. So watching, well, I've been really drawn to just very relaxed and chill videos lately. Like Lizette is so calming to listen to, so I've been watching and catching up on some of Lizette's videos, and along with like vlog style videos, I'm still really enjoying those a lot, and enjoying that there are a lot more people that are kind of doing those lately. It just feels like it's doing life together and getting to just chat with people, whatever they're up to, you know, throughout the week. And I don't know, it's kind of slice of life. So there's that. And then listening to, does anyone else ever get kind of like, I know that I know the answer to this question, but feel free to let me know what your latest kind of earworm is, where there's a song where you just are like, I'm just going to listen to this song like 20 times in a row because I don't know, maybe it's almost like a stim, but it's like, I'm just enjoying it so much. I want to listen to it over and over again. I had been scrolling just Facebook, you know, reels or whatever, Instagram reels, and there was a song that I was like, okay, that song seems so catchy, I want to go look it up. And it's a newer Selena Gomez song. And I was just listening to that on like repeat for a couple of days, and yeah, it was, I don't know. I do that sometimes where it's like, there's a song that it's just stuck in my head. I'm going to listen to it a bunch, and then I'm never going to want to listen to it again. So, and then as far as what I have coming up this week, videos wise, well, I finally have the princess video up, so yay. That's been kind of hanging over my head for, since I finished those kits, and I'm just waiting. One of you in my comments, it's fine, you can call me out. I know I still haven't done the post review on that cross-stitch conversion project. That's been in the back of my brain, and yes, I would like to do that because it's been like 9 months or something ridiculous since I finished it. So not quite 9 months. It's been a long time. 7, 8 months. I need to do that post review, like really, really bad. I just need to do it. So yeah, I know. I haven't forgotten, even though I sometimes pretend like I've forgotten. I also have a Diamond Art Club sneak peek. I may see if I can do a Dark Lilith comparison and post review video this week, maybe too. And I have, you know, a little bit of a backlog of small shop kits to unbox too, as always. I'm kind of pulling those out from time to time to get into and share with you all. I am planning to film ahead for when I'm going to be gone at the retreat, though that's still a little ways out. So I will definitely have videos for you even while I'm going to be out of town for several days. But yeah, there'll be reasons for there to be plenty of videos. But that's all I'll say about that. So anyway, I really wanted to like keep chatting at you until I actually finish this section because I'm down to almost the last color. So let's see if you made it all the way to the end. What should we have you do this week? Last week, I think we did... Was I working on Dark Lilith last week? I think I was. I don't remember what that emoji was. This one is pink. We've done snakes before, but you know what? You know what? Since a few weeks ago when I was last working on this kit and I accidentally cut off the last few minutes of that WIP and Chat, the emoji that I had asked you at the end of that WIP and Chat that got cut off was for a snake emoji. So since we missed that one, I will go ahead and just let that be the replacement for this week. If you made it all the way to the end of this week's WIP and Chat, feel free to leave a snake emoji. Let me know what you've been working on and what you're up to while we chatted today. And if you're not already subscribed and would like to see more diamond painting videos from me, please do subscribe. I'd love to have you here. I do these WIP and Chats. Typically I film them like I mentioned at the beginning, usually filming them on Sunday nights and then posting them on Monday mornings. And I like to treat WIP and Chats like podcasts when I'm listening. And if people have dedicated WIP and Chat playlists, I'll sometimes go back and watch those. It's fun if they've been doing them since the beginning of their channel and going back and watching some of their very first WIP and Chats, you know, up through present day it's fun to see how people change and grow. So, and sometimes how they don't, sometimes how they stay the same. So I will link to my WIP and Chat playlist below if you would like to see past WIP and Chats, which when I started my channel in August, September of 2020, I think my very first video was a WIP and Get to Know Me. It's incredibly cringeworthy to me now, but I also have a soft spot for it because I'm like, yeah, but that's how I started, even though I had no idea what I was doing and not at all really comfortable on camera. It's my roots. It's where I came from. But anyway, thank you for spending some time with me today. We did get to officially now the end of this section. The crystals that make up these snakes are so pretty, but crystals just don't always sit together super flush and neatly. So I'm always going back through to make sure that they're not popped up. Like I can sometimes feel, them. So I'm always doing that. But yay, we finished that section. So, okay, really gonna end it now. Thanks again for being here. I hope that you are doing very, very well and that you have a day and a week that is as amazing as you are. I'll chat with you again soon. Bye.